Okay, guys. So I'm with Mr. Renmar Sta Cruz, aka Reptar. What's up?
What up?
Do you have an opening catchphrase whatsoever?
No, not at all. After years of casting, I do not have any catchphrase whatsoever.
Man, okay. So there might be people who don't know of Reptar or Renmar yet. Can you introduce yourself to us?
All right. I'll be boring with it. 27 years ago. No, okay. No, yeah. Hi, my name is Renmar Sta Cruz. I also go by Reptar. I have an identity crisis wherein I cannot decide what name to go with, either Renmar or Reptar. But yeah, I'm an esports shoutcaster, mainly for Mobile Legends Bang Bang. I've been casting since late 2019. I do not like long walks on the beach, but I do like beaches.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
No, you actually touched upon one of the more important ones, like your history in casting. That's what I wanted to open up with. Like,
cool.
How did you start shoutcasting?
All right. I think for this one though, I have to start not with in esports, but like even before that. So for the people who've been following me for a long time, or even just recently, because it's something I post about from time to time, is I used to do radio, and mainly in college, and then right after college also. So that's where I got a stint of like talent work. I did college radio, hosting, and then eventually I got into Mineski as a talent manager, and that's how I started in esports. Manager. And I know you're very familiar with my story there. Right. Started off as a talent manager. I did talent work in Mineski from time to time when needed. If ever we needed a host and I couldn't find any, it's like, I'll just host it myself. Yeah. And I get to save. Project managers will be happy with me. And then eventually I left Mineski, already knowing that I wanted to get into casting. I spent 3 months locked up in my room studying the art of casting, watching you guys again, watching other leagues, watching esports in general. And yeah, I casted some really small barangay versus barangay tournaments, and then eventually I got a call from Mineski again, who was like, "Hey, we're doing this tournament."
Did they really call you?
Yeah. Oh. I was so surprised because I didn't know they were watching me. Our good friends Marvin and Zen Angeles were the ones who were keeping tabs on me, and they're like, "Oh, he's already casting. Let's get him for this tournament." And then it just started from there.
It really looks trippy, at least in my perspective, because it's true. Mr. Renmar out here is actually our talent manager, and he took care of us.
But, I tried to.
Yeah, which is weird because when he got in, we already know, at least, during the company introduction, hey, this is your guy, and by the way, he does radio too. And then when you listen to him and when he gives advice to us, he sounds like a talent. So it's so weird to be managed by another talent. Would you rather say that you're a talent first than you were a manager first, or did you just do the talent manager thing just because you needed a job or something like that?
It's that. It's exactly that. I did the talent manager thing because I needed a job at that time. It was recommended by our good friend Ilustrado. He was like, "Hey, we have an opening up here in Mineski. Maybe you should sign up for it. They're looking for talent managers." And it's funny because I'll never forget this. When I was signing up for it, I was already doing the interview. I reached the part of the interview where we were already talking to the he wasn't country manager at that time. He was still the head of operations, the operations head at that time. Okay. He was looking at my CV, my resume, and he was like, "This looks like the resume of a talent. Are you sure you don't want to be a talent?" He's like, "You're applying for talent manager, but it looks like you're signing up to be a talent. What's going on here?" Then I had to explain to him. It's I kind of want to, do behind the scenes stuff. But already then he knew I was supposed to be a talent.
All right. So he knew that. But from your end, did you ever think about shoutcasting, or specifically being an esports talent? Because here's the thing, for me personally, my entry to esports is that I wanted to be a caster because I've seen casting. Maybe I haven't shared that, but yeah, it's basically because I was so surprised on how they were predicting the picks. I was watching a Dota 2 game, and it's like they're doing play-by-play, they're doing analysis, and I'm a sports watcher, so I understand what they're coming from, and I said, okay, I'm gonna be that guy in a few years whatsoever.
Yeah.
Were you that kind of guy too?
No, not
Okay.
at all. It was late into my tenure in Minefki that that's when I was feeling, man, I wonder what it'd be like to be a caster. So, yeah, it wasn't something like I got into esports because I wanted to be a caster or I loved esports. I went into esports knowing that, oh, there's a new industry, something that I am familiar with, but I didn't really follow.
Yeah.
At that time, I'll never forget like the classic clip that really stuck with me in esports are, well, two things. Of course, the classic cast of Lon and Duno in
Okay.
TI 8.
Yeah,
Seven?
there are many.
Yeah,
so-
yeah. It was like kuko ng Haskar ng Pinas ba yun?
yeah,
Ano
yeah,
that
yeah.
one? Yung basta yung Warlord.
Yeah, there was
yeah.
Kuku yeah, something like
Yeah, it was like
Huskar
Kuku.
of the Philippines.
Yeah,
something
Huskar of the
like that.
Philippines. That one. Exactly,
Yeah.
that one. And then a very old
The Filipino Huskar.
The
yeah.
Filipino
Yeah,
Huskar.
the
There we
Filipino
go.
Huskar.
That clip really
Yeah,
stuck with me. And then a very old Dota 1 cast.
Really?
Also with Lon.
Yeah.
And I think it was a Filipino team going up a team called Orange.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then he said the line something along the lines of the era of Orange is done. We're gonna plant mangoes now. But in Filipino. And those are the
yeah.
esports moments that stuck with me. But
Oh my
then once I
God.
got in, I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch more. And then that's when
Yeah.
all the history I learned, like not only within like MOBA games, but like
Yeah.
other esports as well.
And you would say that you're an avid gamer before that started, or
Yeah.
growing up.
Yeah,
Okay.
not an esport guy, but gamer. Heck yeah.
Okay. Well, of course. I mean, you're I mean, we were close, so I know that you're a sports guy too. So did you feel like, okay, in esports we kind of can replicate that kind of like emotion or adrenaline,
Oh.
and you can see the esports scene being a sports entertainment too.
Oh yeah, for sure. That I still remember the moment that really pinged in me. It wasn't the first event that we did. The first event I did or ran as a talent manager at that time was it was a mall event of a major league here, and then that was like the start of like a thought sparking in my head. But what really got me is like, oh man, this is like sport. As you mentioned, it's sports entertainment. Was when we were doing the playoffs of MPL Philippines season 3.
Yeah.
That's when I really felt it. Like
Yeah.
that crowd, that atmosphere, the energy of the casters,
The storyline.
the storylines, and then also like leading up to that when I was watching the clips of like other tournaments as well to understand casting more. Yeah, eventually that's something that I realized. It wasn't there right away, but it didn't take too long for it to like snap in my head. It's like, oh man, this is legit.
And when that happened, like so season 3 happened, and then you told me you resigned from your position because you wanted to shoutcast, or you want to be a talent, right?
Yeah.
Afterwards, and then
I think it was around midway through season 4. That's when I announced I was gonna resign
yeah.
already.
And that was an active decision on your part that, okay,
Yeah.
man, talent manager's not for me anymore. I want to be a talent.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. So there was kind of a a movie-esque kind of
Ish.
yeah ish kind
Ish.
of like epiphany.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It happened.
No, but like, okay, honestly, that was one of the things. But the main reason was really just at that time it was like a family decision.
Wow.
For me, not my family deciding for me, but like having a regular job and all that. One of the reasons why I was like, I need an alternative lifestyle.
More of a lifestyle choice.
Yeah, so that I have more time at home
Okay.
with my family, or whenever my family needs me. It's so easy for me to just show up there.
Yeah.
Esports is a very demanding job. The hours
Yeah.
are demanding. The hours are wild.
Talent manager is a very wild thing.
Ish, not as much as prod. Prod,
Of course.
gets it's crazy.
I think the thing is like when you're working in esports, specifically like production, even when you're a talent manager, you see them like still working, and you feel that, oh man, I cannot slack off.
Yeah.
Even if the day is over, man, I think you need to. I see you as that kind of guy. Like you don't let the other ones like be tired if you're not, or vice versa.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I initially left. It was more of a alternative lifestyle thing. Wherein I don't want that 8 to 5 schedule, even though I needed it. That's why I had to have a long talk with my parents first, like I told them.
Yeah.
And then they were supportive.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm grateful for that and lucky for that they were very supportive of that.
All right. Yeah. And speaking of, I mean, we're in a topic of your parents, your family, and Renmar Santa Cruz is very much tied up with Rene Santa Cruz, a very famous icon here in the Philippines, but for radio, like AM, like news. And it's very traditionally Filipino. I mean, if you listen to Renmar's dad here, if you ever find a chance, and maybe some of you knew already, very deep formal Tagalog with your father. And he is a very strong personality as well, by the way. So salute to Renmar's dad, a very, very strong personality and much needed in the Philippines. Talk to me about like did that radio background from your father, and of course like the family's involved anyways, did that even affect you wanting to be a talent?
I guess subconsciously it did.
Subconsciously.
Because my parents were never the type to tell me what to do in life. They were always like, do what you want. We're doing everything we can so that you have the freedom to choose what kind of life you want to live, what you want to go to, what you want to be. So do that. But then because, I grew up in a radio family. My mom did radio. Dad still does radio. I grew up also hearing stories of my grandfather, my mom's side doing radio. Yeah.
Wow.
Back in the 70s, that's when he was doing it.
Crazy.
Yeah. So I guess maybe that's one of the things that inspired me to go get into college radio. Was just that on the back of my head. That's a different story though, why I got into college radio. But it inspired it somewhat. But it wasn't like, oh, my family's doing it, I'm gonna do it. It wasn't like that.
So you could say that you naturally like appreciated what these people, the voice talents do.
Oh yeah, like especially like as a wrestling fan, as a big fan of like Jim Ross.
Okay.
And that, and of course hearing my dad in the radio. Yeah, I had a huge appreciation for talents, like voice talents, radio talents, commentary work,
hosting too,
and then
of course because of your love for sports. I think maybe all of them all together. Then you found your spot because you're also gaming. Boom, shoutcasting. Did your father ever listen to you?
Yeah. From time to time, like my parents listened to me early on in my career. My parents would be giving me a lot of advice.
Really? Is that not? How does that feel? Is that good for you? Did you feel good about it? Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Isn't it like very intrusive or something? No,
it's like I love the guidance because their thing was always like so simple. My mom's advice was always along the lines of like finding your personality or your branding.
Okay.
Your main thing. Because remembering what my mom did in radio back then, that's something that she was very good at. My dad, on the other hand, just kept reminding me, Anak, don't forget, there are people watching who don't fully understand what you're saying, like me. So if you can find a way to make it simpler. That's why I feel like my casting style was greatly molded by that. Because like I always see it as this. Amongst all the analysts, I feel like I am the one who is the least technical. And that's not a bad thing. That's not me pulling myself down.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's more of like... Because remember at one point we were when we first introduced color in a trio setup, we were like, what's color?
Yeah.
I feel like now I'm living that. Because even though I still analyze... I don't go as deep in the technicalities compared to like you, Midnight, Chantel. You guys can get really into it. Me, even though I get into that from time to time, I'm more for the drama.
Yeah.
I'm more for the color of it. And I think one of the reasons is that that happened is because I know that's something my parents appreciate.
Man.
And that's how they understood the game more. Because I kept it simple, stupid. Kiss.
Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool though that it's as if you're casting. If there's one or two people that will, you'll be casting for, that they'll be the only ones listening. It should be your parents.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
That's
that's something I kept in mind, especially starting in MPL PH season 10. And then also even more so in 11, because my parents went to the playoffs during 10. And then they saw me in my analyst segments, and they were like, it was especially after that, they were like, we sort of got what you were saying, but I felt like there's a way that you could, make it a little bit more interesting. That's why season 11 was really like, I felt like I really found the style I was super comfortable with because of things that they would tell me.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Man, that's so sweet and cool at the same time.
Yeah.
So good.
It's so wholesome.
It's so very wholesome. All right. Man, that's great. Like, man, I just can't wrap my head around that. Maybe there are pros listening to us, like casting. Like, of course, you already know what they think about your casting. I wonder what they think about our casting. That'll be funny to hear. But yeah, that's a topic for another day. Wow. Okay, that's I'm actually very happy that you shared that information, and of course, to all the viewers out there, I hope that you find it very wholesome and very inspiring because that really happens. Okay, now. Moving on to now your career as a shoutcaster, you picked up Mobile Legends. Getting into Mobile Legends, though, my question is like, was it because out of necessity, or was it like, oh, it's just available at that time? Okay, fine, I'll do it. Or is it that because you liked it? Because I heard that you said that just earlier that season 3 you kind of fell in love with the storylines, with the drama, with all of the hype that happened. So what of those 3 that I mentioned, or if there's something else, made you actually choose Mobile Legends as the game that you'll cast?
Yeah, I'm not going to over-romanticize it. Really, it was just 2 things. Number 1, it's a game that I enjoyed. I wouldn't say I loved it compared to like other people, like who really love the game. I enjoyed the game. I like playing the game. And then at the same time, I saw it at that moment as the game that had like the brightest future in terms of like the esports league, the growth, in terms of what I felt like I could be good at. So that's why I leaned into it. Over time, that's when my appreciation for it really ballooned.
Wow.
Yeah, but in the beginning, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm not gonna say no, I love the game from the start. I think I knew it. This is gonna be no. It wasn't like that. It was just something that eventually became a process. At first, it was practicality. Eventually, it did eventually balloon into like passion and actual like love for the game and the story and the league. So
I could say kind of the same with me. But to me, there were 2 things that kind of tethered me into Mobile Legends, most particularly. Because as maybe some of you don't know, but I started with Dota 2 and different other titles, many other titles. But I stuck with Mobile Legends because of 2 things. First is their storylines are insane. Like I'm telling you, the season 1 of MPL, I can't believe that people do that. There's betrayal. There's like there are love stories in between. There's so many, much more drama happening with it. There's like a superpower that was dominating for the first one, but because one person went to the other clan, it changed. The storyline was very rich. So I thought that, okay, this is something that I can work with, and I like that. Second is because Mobile Legends, they kind of allow me to be a good analyst, because with Dota 2, it seems like production wise, as well as like the people who are watching, they're not that I guess malleable, or at least what's the term, like they
flexible,
impervious, is that a term, like permeable? They're permeable. Not that permeable to like deep analysis. But with Mobile Legends, we were very surprised that when we first did like all of these analysis, people actually listened and reacted to it, good way and bad way. That's the reason why I liked Mobile Legends. Then came all of the other parts of the drama that came with it, appreciation. And I mean, people will always say like, okay, Mobile Legends started as a bad game, whatever. But it improved a lot. So it's very competitive now.
It is. And it has been for a very long time.
Yeah. Anyway, you were supposed to be the one that I'm interviewing and I'm sharing my stuff.
No, it's fine. I like it when we're both sharing in the setting.
Okay, so the next part of it is like now that we know that this is the reason why you eventually like Mobile Legends. Naturally, the career path for a caster like you, who mainly goes for English, right? Because well, if you don't know, guys, Reptar is actually a very fluent English caster, very good at it as well. You're trying Tagalog too, right? But
yeah, from time to time.
But I think the natural trajectory, and I'm not stereotyping you, man. I'm just saying that the natural trajectory is to go international. And can I just say that I'm very, very happy that you now have an international MLBB casting game.
Yeah.
Finally, people, an organization flies you around the world, 2 countries even, in your first state. That was amazing. And pay you to cast Mobile Legends in English. That's so good. So, man, tell me about it.
Oh, dude, for the longest time that has been like a goal, or let's be honest, it was the goal to eventually get the call to fly international to cast a tournament. And yeah, it was such a great experience. And I also feel like the timing was perfect, because especially after like our first leg in Malaysia, when we were doing the challenge season, that's when I felt like I get it now. I get why, sorry if this is gonna sound cheesy, but like I get why the universe now was like, now is your time. Because I felt like I was in the right mindset, professionally, personally, to be able to do a good job. If I went abroad sooner than the time I finally went, I probably would have crossed people the wrong way, wouldn't have been a good person to work with. Maybe that's myself being too hard on me being too hard on myself, but that's what I felt like. Because I'm gonna say this now, and this isn't me stroking my own ego. It feels great as a talent when someone tells you, man, you're great at your role, you're a great caster, you're fun to listen to.
It's beautiful.
But the thing that really stuck with me and that made me like pat myself on the back is like, hey man, good job. Like a rare moment of self-appreciation for myself. It's when people would tell me, people really enjoy working with you. You're really great to work with. And there were, I'm not going to name names, there were 2 casters talking. It was the 3 of us talking, but I went, I was like, I got like a sip of water, and then they were still talking. And then when I got back, one of the casters was like, yeah, Reptar like can really work with anyone. Like he knows how to adjust to whoever he works it, and that feels amazing.
Yeah. By the way, I mean, if I enjoy working with someone, it will take like so much enjoyment before I actually tell that guy that, hey, I enjoy working with you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hearing that takes time.
Yeah, that takes time.
And like that was like what 6 days of tournament for our first leg in Malaysia.
Yeah.
And to hear that already, like in the second half, so like the last 3 days of the tournament, it felt really good.
Yeah.
Because like that's how I know I'm on the right path.
That's right.
Not because I'm getting accolades, not because people are telling me I think you're the best caster. It's not that. It's just knowing that other talents are happy working with me makes me so happy.
Yeah. And here's the thing, right? I mean, and by the way, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Whoever said that, by the way, I agree with him. Yeah.
Or her.
Yeah. Or her. Or they, them.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
So people, like when you go international for the first time, of course it's you for your own, like on your own sake. You say you feel, oh man, this is so good. Technically speaking, you don't get viewed as much. Actually, like English for like I think it's also applicable to other like esports titles. Like in English broadcasts, typically. They aren't the most viewed ones because there are a lot of local broadcasts anyways, and even more so for us specifically, we're analysts. People like the volume of people who actually enjoy what we do is incomparable to all of the hype casting, right? So
for sure.
You also mentioned about you having like a identity crisis about your name whatsoever. Can you say that you like your role now? English or international, caller/analyst, panel. Is that something that you really like to do?
Oh, yeah.
It's great to hear.
So much. I think even more so because I finally it feels like I finally found myself. Season 10 was the start of it. But then season 11 was when I really felt comfortable in my own skin and in the role that I was presented in. Not saying that I was perfect at it or anything, but it just felt right. I finally found my own style. People would call it over dramatic. That's my version of hype. I like painting things more epically, more epic than they actually are.
Man, that's the thing, right? Some people say are over dramatic, and believe it or not, like it's weird because you magnify like bad comments like that. But at the same time, there are a lot of people who really enjoyed what you're doing.
Who really appreciate it.
So I guess it's easy to kind of like focus on the negative things because they're more magnified. They're easier to see.
Yeah.
But yeah.
At the end of the day, negativity is always going to be like louder than positivity.
Yeah.
But like it feels good because like let's say for like every 10 negative comments you get, even though those really suck, all it takes is one really good comment to shake you out of it. You just be like, hey man, at least that guy's happy. I'm happy.
That's right. Yeah. Typically, I have fortunately for me as a talent, I've always had not really a mentor, but I'm very close with this guy, and you probably know this guy too. And he says everything straightforward. We developed that kind of relationship where if he feels that I made a mistake or I suck at this specific casting, he's gonna say it, and he's gonna even be like very
blunt
about it, and also very hurtful. Like, okay, I think I can say this, but basically he says to me like, okay, today you sounded like you have a dick in your mouth.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's gonna be very blunt like that. And he says, yeah, you moaned a lot. It seems like that somebody's sticking it in your ass today.
Oh my goodness.
He's willing to do that. And I actually consider myself lucky because there's someone who can actually say that to me and then tell me how to kind of fix it or at least give suggestions. Yeah.
It's not just saying it out of just to spite you or anything. It's like it's actual. It doesn't sound like it, but it's actual constructive criticism, or it's getting there.
It's getting there. Because I remember there was a time where I had this weird like nuance where because I'm so much of a nerd about the game, and because when you're so much of a nerd about the game, you get like you moan because there's such a good thing that happened, and there's a series of good things that happen, and it's like oh something like that.
Yeah,
but I didn't sound good, and he said like, hey, it looks like somebody's just begging you. So
hey, shout out to the people who like that.
Yeah,
y'all are warriors. Just saying.
Yes,
like all the love to you.
Yeah. I mean, like it's nice to have that kind of relationship. But anyway, moving forward, back to you in international setting. Is it everything that you thought about it will be the first time that you?
Well, really, I just going into it. The thing that I really just wanted to be was, eventually what I got validation for was like I just really wanted to not step on anyone's toes. I wanted to not outshine anyone, just deliver a good show to whoever I'm paired with on that day, either in the panel or in the casting desk. I'll be very specific though, with a couple surprises. So starting first with my man Colius, mainly an Indonesian talent, not super into English, but he said yes. He took it, and then he told me one thing that surprised both of us was like we had good chemistry on the panel. We could get each other's comedic timings. We agreed a lot on some certain points, and if we don't agree onto it, we know how to put it in such a way that instead of like outright saying no, you're wrong, we were providing alternatives that just made it so much better because now both analysts are talking about possibilities. So that was like a pleasant surprise. I had a lot of people going into SPS telling me that they were finally excited to hear me cast with Mirko. And the surprising thing with that is I thought like with me and Mirko, hearing him cast, I was like, oh, we'd find our groove right away. It actually took like our first cast. It was good. Could have been better. Second cast, better. After that, so much better. So that took time. I'm very happy, especially for the longest time he was someone I was watching. That I got that I was watching them. I got along so well on whatever role we were in with LaFell and Gideon.
Yeah.
So happy. In the panel with LaFell and then on cast with Gideon, we just got along, and I always enjoyed like casting with them. Gani and I took time to find our, how do you call this? Our right groove, but eventually we found it. And eventually we somehow found this sort of long-running inside joke where he called me an elephant even though he wasn't. He didn't do that. And it was just painting, even though like Gani's such a super nice guy, it became like a joke like Gani hates me even though he doesn't. And that was really fun. Turn was fantastic to work with.
My favorite still was with the slippers.
Oh goodness, the slipper joke. I interviewed the Malaysian team. Yeah, but it was in Filipino. Yeah, because that was explained because the Malaysians were on the Malaysian broadcast, and that's where they got interviewed in Bahasa. But in the English broadcast, it was the Filipinos who represented.
And you happened to be there. They won. And then
it was like, that's it.
It was so meta. Actually.
Yeah. So in terms of like, it wasn't what I expected it to be, but it was far better than I could have imagined.
Yeah.
Not to say like that it was perfect, but it was just like, I liked the working environment. I liked the people I was working with, even in Malaysia when we were also working with IC Baby. And then in Indonesia, our group there also. It was fun. It was just a great experience.
Yeah.
And again, I'm just glad like it happened at that moment because I had the right mindset for it.
10 out of 10 will do again.
Well, for sure.
Okay, so did LaFell tell you any kind of weird stories? Because here's the thing, right?
Weird stories?
LaFell is... I love that guy. I love you, LaFell, by the way. But if you know him off cam, like, he's so weird to be an analyst because, in a way, he has the skill to be an analyst because you will believe him. And I think that is his biggest gift, Yeah. This guy tells a story, 100% sure that's, dude, that's BS.
Yeah.
He's going to tell it anyway. The way that he looks at you. And the way that he pauses between like his stories.
Yeah.
He's going to make you believe that it's true.
Yeah.
And tell me to that. He told me that he knows witchcraft or something, like dark magic or something.
Yeah. He told us along those lines too. And that's what surprised me about LaFell, like off cam. Such a good storyteller, man.
He is.
He's one of those dudes that could literally sell you the pen that you were just using.
Yeah.
That's
the Wolf of Wall Street kind of guy.
Exactly.
He's
not a pen that you haven't used. Literally the pen you just had in your hand, he can sell it to you.
Yeah. I can tell you really the bizarre stories.
Yeah.
You
a lot of ghost stories.
And ghost stories too.
Yeah.
I love you, LaFell. Man, that's probably why he is like one of the top guys. And him and Gideon, like they're. I miss those guys. You guys are so good.
Yeah. They miss you too.
Oh, really? I wish. Okay, well, yeah. Of course, you have the chance to work with Indo guys, and of course, our fellow jawhead, Mr. Leo. And Leo is one of the vets too, so probably gave you advice, but it's just weird because you've been working together. I mean,
yeah, no, but I'm super glad that I got to experience that trip with Leo, because it was just really comforting knowing that he was there. If ever I needed someone to talk to, that I'm already very familiar with, he was there. From time to time, he'd ask me like, "Oh, how was it working with?" Because he's already worked with the others. Like, he's already had experience. So then, from time to time, he'd ask me like, "Hey, man, what's it like working with this talent? Blah blah blah. Like, what do you think?" And then he'd also give advice from time to time. So it was great. That super happy that we got to go there together.
Perfect. Okay, now you mentioned about your casting style that it's more an analysis, color, whatsoever. But you also mentioned something about like your love for sports and wrestling commentary, more specifically.
Oh heck yeah!
Yeah, and part of it, of course, is building storyline. I mean, I can spend a whole podcast just talking about how important storylines are, right? And of course, adding to the drama, which is now the responsibility of us talents or shoutcasters to tell that story in a good way that people understand. But at the same time, we have to make drama and hype.
Yeah.
Which brings me to this next question. Do you think that monikers are important?
Coming from a Filipino casting perspective, yeah, dude. Well, we're the region right? The talents from the other regions always ask us, man, why do the Filipinos have nicknames for everything? It just adds to, again, at the end of the day, yeah, they are pro players. But I like that even without fully talking about it, the talent team with of course, with the creative guidance of Moonton, of the production of MPL, it's like we all agreed we have to find a way to paint these players as superstars.
Yeah.
That was my Vince McMahon impression, by the way. And it just adds to the, how do I say this? The mythos, the mystique of the player.
Lore.
The lore. It adds to them as figures even more so. Because they're already doing the heavy work in terms of solidifying who they are and their images. It's our job to just help add on to that.
Yeah.
And it's so fun. Monikers, heck yeah.
What's a good recipe for a moniker? What do you think that, like, when you hear someone like, because I mean, not every caster can just say like, oh, he's the Jack Mamba, oh, he's the hitman whatsoever. Like, you can just say that. It has to have a story. That for me is, to me, a good moniker is like when it stuck through without you having to like repeatedly do it. Like it's just, it's just that. It just felt natural. What for you? Like, what's a good moniker? Like, what are the ingredients?
Okay. For me, it just has to make sense. Please.
Okay.
Wherein, if you hear it, it won't take a lot of questions for you to understand why that is.
Okay.
At first, I wasn't sold on the moniker of Alien and Baby Alien. But then when they tell me, oh, it's because Lemon is called Alien, and he plays out of this world, sold.
Okay.
So, to me, that's a good moniker.
Yeah.
Because it's simple to explain if ever someone needs to ask a question. Like, not all monikers need to be, to me, need to be something that is obvious right away.
Yeah.
Because it's also good if it piques like one question.
Yeah.
And it really just has to make sense to the history of the player or the context of why they earned that name.
Yeah.
Pretty much that's it.
Okay. So, what are your favorite ones? Give me a 3 maybe, or 4 or 5.
Okay. I didn't expect it, but when y'all started dropping Chak Mamba, that was so great. And it just made so much sense.
Yeah, in the end, yeah. Well, it was I can fairly remember that cast. It was fairly stupid, I mean,
Wait, the Chak Mamba come from that season 7?
Season 6.
Oh, it was in season 6 first. Okay,
it was Signal Ultra going up against Execration, and it was Imba mentality that there was a post like for Signal Ultra, like it's Imba mentality whatsoever. But then Execration bested them. It's like, okay, the Mamba is not Imba DJ whatsoever. It's the Chak Mamba because it just sounds like Black Mamba.
No, but it was perfect.
Yeah, but like I said, eventually you make sense out of it because he's a franchise player. Eventually, he became a franchise player. He became like very important to the thing. But Chak Mamba is that's a good one because it's maybe because we like Kobe a lot.
Yeah, that too. It's a sports thing.
Yeah.
Is it monikers that I came up with or just like
any?
I really like that the Filipino sniper became a thing. To me, that's to me, that is one of the coldest nicknames of all time, man.
Right.
The Filipino sniper.
That was M3.
That in itself needs no explanation. If you know MLBB, sniper, Filipino, probably a Matrix user.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
I agree.
That's cold as hell.
Okay.
And this I have to stroke my ego, but also at the same time, attributed to the fact that I got this from the NBA. I'm really happy that I pushed for Agent Zero.
Oh, Agent Zero is like wait. Chauncey, no,
Gilbert Arenas.
Gilbert Arenas, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
All right. So if Blacklist fans ever see this, Agent Zero nickname, I'll never forget it. It was in season 9 or 10.
Okay.
That we were having a meeting beforehand. Because weekly, the talents have a meeting, talk about it. And then we were talking, it just came up. And then I suggested, because I was watching NBA clips. I was watching old NBA clips.
Yeah, Gilbert Arenas.
And I saw Gilbert Arenas. And I remembered, they used to call him Agent Zero. And that stuck with me.
Yeah.
Then as we were getting close to either MPL Philippines season 9 or 10, that's when I think it was midway through 9, when I suggested one day, guys, you know what would be a really cool nickname that we could try to push? Agent Zero for Edward.
Yeah.
And it makes sense.
Because he's the first one.
He's the first one. He is like, even though like Blacklist International, a lot of people see VYs as like the faces of the organization, which is also true. It's like Edward's that guy who's been there like from the beginning.
Yeah.
Of course, alongside Dex, Coach Bon.
Yeah.
But it just fit perfectly.
Yeah, I agree.
That was just like Agent Zero. I didn't come up with Agent Zero. That was the NBA.
Yeah.
I was like, we could use this in an esports setting.
That's perfect, dude. Because Edward is arguably he's the franchise player actually. Like VYs can attribute them to more like maybe when like because I think that Edward is more Kobe. Then if you're thinking about VYs, they might be like Shaq and maybe Shaq Gasol, something like that.
Yeah.
Or
the way I see it is, okay, you have to go back into old NBA lore to understand it. And this is coming from a Lakers fan.
Okay.
I see Edward as Jerry West.
Okay.
I see VYs as Will Chamberlain. Will Chamberlain didn't start off as a Laker. He built his legacy in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
But when he became a Laker, it was still a big deal. And, he also added to the mystique and the success of the Lakers at that time. But I think it was just like 1 or 2 championships. I can't remember. But that's the NBA. But that's the way I see it.
Okay. Fair enough. So you have Jack Mamba, Filipino Sniper, Agent Zero. Anything else that kind of not even like about like players, like even like terms. Or maybe like nicknames whatsoever.
Infamously in season 8 when I really pushed hard and then it just stuck, but people were so annoyed by it. Banana split.
Why will they be annoyed? I remember that day when we were doing another podcast for that. Why? Who got annoyed with that?
No, so people were just like, really, the only reason why I pushed for banana split is like, dude, I need a counter to ube.
It's also a dessert. So
that's also a dessert theme. So I was like, banana split, onyx yellow in their logo and their colors.
And they're doing a split push.
Yeah, no, but the people were annoyed by it because they were just like, what is this banana split? Why are we talking about food? And hey, no surprise, the food reference, that's me.
Oh man, it's a very nice one.
I'm so happy that stuck because again, for the context at that time, it made sense. At that time, Onyx were macroing the map like crazy. They were split pushing a lot.
Literally, like they're the opposite. They're like yin and yang. Always like they're sticking together. Onyx PH to be particular, is just splitting the map. It's just yin and yang. But then again, Ube bested it. But of course, you know that it's a classic Filipino thing when it's Ube versus the banana split. So I don't get why they're annoyed. Whoever got annoyed with you, I don't agree with them.
No, but I'm happy that a lot of people also it eventually grew on them. That it's so funny hearing someone drop banana split. Like every time back then when I'd hear Chantel or Midnight or you analyze it and you just be like, serious? Yeah, but the banana split? Dude, to me, that's like one of the reasons why I push for that. It's like, that's so funny to me. Because they're being so serious. But they're like banana split.
God knows how many times I made a straight face, very serious about stuff, and talking about this is how the ube beat the banana split. Or in Tagalog, ganito tinalo ng ube yung banana split. And I'm dead serious. But to other people, that's like... Actually, if you didn't point this out today, I wouldn't even feel like it's a very clowny thing to do. Now, yes. Oh, dude, man.
Exactly. That's why some people were annoyed by it. Because it was like...
Now I the
dichotomy, and that's the type of humor I love.
Yeah, dude. Oh, come on.
I live for that. Yeah, I also just want to say though, like I'm super grateful, especially like for the Filipino cast, because a lot of the nicknames catch on. Like let's be honest, because of the Filipino cast.
Yeah.
When I told in the meeting Agent Zero, Manjin started using it right away.
Yeah.
And it caught on so quickly.
It's big. I think
That
it's,
I'm super thankful for.
Yeah, but I think because it's our group, like everybody's just very
Yeah.
wired the same way.
Yeah. Everyone's always down. Like, okay, we'll try to drop this moniker. If it doesn't work, it
Yeah.
doesn't work. If it catches on, it catches on.
Yeah.
We'll use it even more. But yeah, I like how we power one another. And even in the English stream, like from time to time, like if you guys come up with a nickname,
Yeah.
we'll drop it in the English stream as well. Like we work together, like
Yeah.
to help push certain things. And I'm so happy when the teams themselves are also G for that.
That's right.
And then eventually, like it was heartwarming to see Agent Zero eventually grow into Legend Zero.
Yeah.
Like low-key, it's like, oh, I helped put my stamp on,
Yeah,
our
yeah.
history. And I also did that for Indonesia lately. Yo, if you guys have been watching BTR Alpha, have you ever wondered why they started calling them the Terminators? I dropped that on the English cast of SPS.
Of SPS.
And I'm super thankful to Clara, to Mirko, to all the Indonesian talents who were like, the Terminators.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could get along with that. We're
That's
going to
right.
drop that as well. So I'm super thankful to them.
It's like it really just builds a lot of like story. Like, man, imagine a world where Ube is not called Ube, and but it's not banana split. Like, what were we talking about during M3 or during like season 8 finals?
Yeah.
Like, could be. Surely we'll come up with something else. But this is the reason why I asked this, because I feel like things like this, like us calling like specific like storylines or like names to stuff, it just makes sense in the end, right? Okay. Wow. Speaking of like, I wanted to ask you about like, so far we have a multi-year career already with when it comes to esports, and I'm sure that we'll have more. Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully. But I guess that we are in a sweet spot where I can say that maybe we've seen a lot of stuff already, that I can now ask you the question like, what are your favorite moments in your career? Like, I have a few. Like, can you remember still the season 4 finals? It was really etched in my memory. Like that finals between like Onyx and Sunsparks, and then the repeat afterwards. So, and then the pandemic stuff. Like, there's so many good moments in my career. But I wanted to ask you, like, for you, what are your top moments?
Okay, so to me, like these are gonna be very personal. So, first one, obviously, it's like every the Filipino World Championship wins. Of course, I was surprised that I was assigned and I got the honor to. Even though I feel like I could have done a better job at the end of the day, was done.
It's in the past.
It's in the past. Rob Luna carried my ass during that one.
Man, we miss you, Rob.
Miss you, Rob. The M2 World Championship win. I'll never forget those days. I was losing my voice, my heart. At one point, I delivered a freaking rousing speech, and eventually Brent did the comeback, because it's like Brent won a string of games, and then the Burmese took the lead, and then Brent had to win 2 in a row, and then they did. And then right before they won 2 in a row, I was like, I gave this speech, and then that stuck with me. It was a bit self-serving, not gonna lie, but at that point, I was really thinking about, like, yo, can y'all calm down? I'm seeing the comments. Believe in Brent Esports.
Yeah.
And then just the fact that I was part of the talent assignment for each of the World Championship wins of the Philippines. In M2, I was casting in the Filipino broadcast. In M3, we were part of the panel. In M4, when Echo got through from the lower bracket finals to finally meet Blacklist International after they secured their slot in the grand finals, casting them with Midnight.
Yeah.
Those are memories that will stick with me. And then the other one, this one is a super personal one. It is the first day of MPL Philippines Season 10.
Oh.
Because before Season 10, I was benched. After Season 9, it was a long lull of no work. But I had to use that time to months? Months. The only work I got then was doing the mall watch party of MSC. Right. That was it. Right. I wasn't in the MSC broadcast. I wasn't in the SEA Games broadcast. So really nothing. But I used that time because I was going through some really personal struggles during Season 9. I don't remember most of season 9 because that's how messed up I was mentally. But in season 10, that's when, modern day current Renmar started to grow. Because I really wanted to take care of myself, my craft, and the talents I work with, the production I work with in season 10.
Yeah.
So after not casting for so long, first day of MPL Philippines season 10 before the cameras rolled, I cried, dude.
Really?
I like, the FDs at that time can freaking vouch for this. The talents I was working with at that time, I kissed the table. I was tearing up because I was so happy to be back. Because I didn't have casting for so long in my life.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to mess this up.
Yeah.
It's my time. I have recovered from pain. I'm in a good state. I will not mess this up. I will take care of this.
It's perfect.
And then from then on, eventually that just started the growth and the journey to the modern day version of me, where I'm very comfortable now in my own skin in casting.
Yeah. And I just want to say, it takes a lot of willpower to admit that you even went through that kind of phase. And it takes a lot of willpower to kind of rise from the ashes, what they say.
Exactly.
So congratulations on that. And I'm very glad that you did. I'm very happy that you're here with us and you just made it through an international casting.
Yeah.
So congratulations, dude. Yeah. It's one of the first few ones. But, the most touching one, however, that at least for me, is the fact that you were awarded with me.
Yeah.
So that was a very bro tearjerker moment. We were awarded the best caster for English for you, for Tagalog for me. And not only that, I think even more than that part, I want to say that the biggest, at least for me, outside looking in, one of the proudest moments that I said, man, I'm so proud of Renmar, was when you were introduced as the voice of MPL.
Yeah.
Dude, even right now, I'm feeling like goosebumps.
Yeah.
So I'm going to end with that question. Like, what does that mean to you?
Oh, man. I remember, like, two of our producers were talking to me after MPL. I think it was around MSC. They asked me, hey, when you already knew that you were going to be introduced as the voice of MPL and you had these are going to be your responsibilities, introducing the teams, starting it off. Like, you're like our Bruce Buffer, you're our Bruce Buffer, Michael Buffer, all of the ring announcers. Did you already feel like you were going to be named the best English talent? I said, no. To me, it was just another responsibility put on me, and I want to do my best. But then eventually, it was like, especially as we were getting closer to the end of MPL Philippines Season 11, the playoffs and grand finals, I was like, wow, holy crap. Why me? Because let's be honest, like, I know OSX, Naisu, Leo, they share the responsibilities with me with delivering those.
Yeah.
Often.
Yeah.
They have better voices than I do. But the fact that production was like, no, we want you to be the voice of MPL to deliver this. It just felt really touching that they would trust me.
Yeah.
And that's why it means a lot to me. Because personally, I see it as there are others who could do this better than me, but I was chosen to do it. Meaning that there's something that I don't fully see just yet, but other people see. So I have to take care of it.
Yeah.
I have to do my best at it. That's why, even though to me I may not sound the best, at least and this is gonna sound super cheesy, I put all my heart and my soul into delivering it because I want it to be epic. Because again, that's how I see the players. I see them as superstars.
Yeah.
And I want to treat them like superstars with how I introduce them.
Let me just end this interview by saying that we felt that heart. Every time that you introduce players, we surely felt that those players are superstars, but we also felt you and your heart to it. So,
Thank you.
And also thank you for that. And I hope you keep on doing it. I hope the universe grants you very strong vocal cords from now on.
Oh, yeah. Yes, please. I need it.
Let's ask for maybe tips whatsoever so that you can return. I'm sure your dad knows a lot about that stuff, so you got that covered for sure. But today I'll be praying for you, but more specifically your vocal cords.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's all pray for Renmar's vocal cords. But yeah, anything you wanna say to the people out there? Anything you wanna promote before we end this?
Instead of promoting something, I'm just gonna say thank you for everything. If you're going through something, I'm glad that you're still with us and you're trying to find a way to get through it. It sounds cheesy, but it does get better. When, we don't know, but it will eventually. So thank you. Be kind, not only to others, but to yourselves as well. Please love others as much as you want to love yourself.
All right. Renmar Sta Cruz, aka Renmar the Reptar, and this is Wolf, and I'll see you next time.
See ya.